Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. Make sure you guys stay locked and tuned in to World Combat Sports.
Hello everyone, this is Scottie White of World Combat Sports. I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with the one and only Michelle Joy Phelps of Behind the Gloves. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, how are you?
Not often media gets to interview media, but you're deep in the game. My first question, how long have you been covering the sport?
7.5 years now.
What initially gravitated you to cover the sport, pick up the microphone, or were you originally a boxing fan? Or
Yeah, I was always a boxing fan. It sort of just fell into my lap, as you'd say. One night I was out drinking, and I went to watch a fight, and I was pissed off at the results. Came back home. I got my little bloggy flip cam by Sony back in the day, and I just pulled it out and I started recording myself venting, and I threw it up online and really not thinking about anything. I had like a YouTube account with like 2 subscribers.
Wow.
And I woke up to thousands of views, and people were like, oh, I agree with you, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it sparked an interest in terms of like...
What sparked Behind the Gloves? Like, how did you come up with that banner?
You know what? It was the first thing I thought of. It just popped into my head. And I remember my brother, he was helping me with the domain name on GoDaddy. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, let's search Behind the Gloves. And he goes, oh, there's no way that's available. That's too good of a name. Yep. And I go, yeah, you're right. And then we kept searching all these other names. Honest to God, like 15 other URLs or domain names. And all of those were taken. And I was like, why don't you just search Behind the Gloves? And he goes and searches it, and it was available. And he was like, oh my God. That's sort of how it happened.
So now that you're deep in the game of boxing and you travel all around the world covering fighters, talk about one interesting fighter that sticks out most to you, since you have a selective, of top-tier fighters in your resume.
In terms of, like, interviewing, like...
Yeah.
I have to give that to Tyson Fury.
Okay.
He's probably the only person that can say everything he says and get away with it.
Yeah.
Just because he's so funny. I think that he's probably one of the funnest people to interview.
Yeah, I saw you over there in the UK a lot, and you actually interviewed Tyson Fury a couple of times in his own home. Mm-hmm. How was that experience for you? What did you find out about Tyson Fury, in his own domain?
Well, the only time I've ever interviewed him in his own home was actually when he was in Big Bear.
Okay.
So when he was in Big Bear, I went into camp and was there, but I've never actually interviewed him in England, back, in his home or anything like that. But we've been around. I mean, I've hosted so many events with him with Gold Star Promotions. They do a lot of like an evening with Tyson Fury or an evening with Floyd Mayweather or Anthony Joshua. They do a lot of those. So, yeah, I've got the opportunity to kind of see a lot of him as of recently. I probably don't have much left to say. Probably shouldn't see him for another few months, and then we'll have something to talk about. But it's been a lot.
Is the day in life of the media regime and you preparing for your hectic schedule? Because every time I turn around, I'm looking at one of your vids and you're on the road.
You know what? It's a lot of work. So I have friends now, people who work with me, and they help me significantly because half of the time, even like now, we got 3 events just on this one weekend. We got one in LA, we got one here in New York, and we got one in London. So it's a lot of work to kind of do. I just try. Before, I used to freak out about it. I used to always get anxiety. I need to put this up. I need to do that. I haven't done enough. I've learned to just take a deep breath and say you can't do it all. And I can't be everywhere either. So sometimes when people want to bitch and moan about being, oh, why aren't you at that fight this weekend? I was like, well, maybe I just wanted to see my mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to sit back. Maybe I want to be a fan and just sit back and watch the fight from home. And that's what you want to do. Because, sometimes when you get caught up in all of this, it's not saying that you lose the excitement, but it's different. It's work. And then when you go home and you're watching it, you're excited, you're cooking dinner, you're barbecuing outside, you got a little alcohol beverage in your hand. It's a different vibe. And I miss that. I miss doing those things. So sometimes I like to sit out and enjoy it with other, my family, friends, and other fight fans. So.
Hey, I get it. I remember one time you said you was just returning. I guess you took a hiatus and you just had to decompress, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because of being on the road all the time. What was
this
that?
past December, actually.
Yeah.
I was going through some depressing moments, some stuff that was going on, and I just checked out. I said, you know what? Everyone knows what they got to do. I'll do what I need to do, and you can't stop 100%. But I mentally needed to focus for a moment on myself. I need to say, you know what? I need my mom and dad right now. I need my family right now. and I just need to take time for me and not always trying to wear myself so thin, which is trying to get all this content and do this, do that. Because everybody, they get really weird sometimes. Like, sometimes boxing media get all weird and like competing with each other. I don't like to compete with nobody. I just like to do my job and have fun. And then, hey, if a video hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not really nothing. There's nothing I could do about that. So I'm not going to sit up all night obsessing over it.
Yeah, you shouldn't compete. You've been in the game so long. You all over the world. So, if anything, they're trying to catch up to what you have going on, and your research effort. Do you just gather content from your team? What's a little intricate detail that that you can pass on to somebody like myself that's kind of blossoming in the media game? But how do you sort through? Are you a YouTube enthusiast? Or you just wait for your content to come through the team?
No, I never wait for anything. Do you mean like, do I wait for them to just send me stuff
just to gather and catalog information that you want to report on? Is it someone from your team that say, "Hey, Michelle, this is what you're going to do next," and give you a timeline as to what you're going to report on?
I do that with everybody.
Okay.
So like yesterday, I was going over some stuff last night with one of my guys in London, and then I was going over stuff with my guy in LA, and we were just kind of talking about like, hey, I need you to talk about these topics. I need you to ask these questions. They already know what they're doing, but sometimes there's stuff specifically I need for them to ask because that's what I would have asked if I was there. So sometimes I do like to. We all kind of do that with each other, though, because there will be times where I even said, like, hey, do you have anything you want me to ask them? And then we'll all pick off of each other, because if that person can't be there but they have a good question, I mean, I may not have thought of it, so we all kind of just play together as a team. And then,
what do you like most about this lane you in? The media lane. It can be sporadic at times, like the Serengeti. Like, what do you like most about it?
I love that I've been able to create something that not only do I enjoy doing, but make a living out of it. I used to waitress, bartend. I was a licensed massage therapist at one point for years. I've done so many odd jobs trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And there's not a day that goes by I don't look around and I'm not grateful for all of this. So as stressful as it gets and exhausting as it gets, the travel and stuff, and maybe even missing your family, not seeing them very much, and then, watching your niece and nephews grow up, and last time you saw them, you're like, oh my God, like they're like so big now. I mean, it really does fly like that.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm grateful. There's not a moment that goes by I don't say that to myself. So every time I catch myself in a mood or in a moment, I'm like, you're blessed. You're very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you represent yourself well. I don't understand how you can go through so many wardrobes. Every time I turn around, you're doing a cameo with a new wardrobe. And I'm like, is that something that your team provides for you, or you packing up your suitcase like we do?
No. I pack up, but I do get stuff sent to me, which is really cool. So I get like outfits sent to me, and they're like, hey, if you can wear this, that would be great. And that's probably one of the perks that I love the most about it. I get a lot of free stuff these days. Okay. A lot of girly like makeup and eyelashes and little stuff. Just post it. So that's a little small perk for me.
Last question. Recently, I did see the segment with you and Radio Raheem, Seconds Out, Salute the Radio. And I just want to ask your opinion on the Jarrell Miller controversy. Being that you frequent the UK and the media, and also he was supposed to step in there with Anthony Joshua. Unfortunately, he tested not one, but two now.
Yeah, I read about that
the
today.
second was HGH. What is your opinion on that?
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's one thing to say, hey, I didn't realize this was in something, which you should realize it's in something. That's your job, is it not? Or your team, somebody on your team's job. But to then have taken a second test and failed for a completely different thing, I mean, it's scary. It's scary. Think about that. Think about if we didn't have drug testing for these big fights. Like, people could be dying. And I feel like I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. I feel like this is just an analogy, an example. When a girl claims, like, oh, this man's stalking me, he's following me everywhere, she goes and files police reports, there's nothing they can do, right? He hasn't physically done anything to you.
Correct.
But you can keep saying, like, this is happening, but nobody does anything about it. The only time somebody does something about it is when she ends up her body shows up somewhere and
Correct.
she's dead. And then we want to change things. Why do we have to wait into such extreme measures to see something change? We're in a position now where there's only so much we could do. We could talk about it.
True.
We can talk all we want about it, but the ones that could do something about it aren't doing anything about it. Where are they?
Yeah, the protocol is pretty distorted. Yeah.
Where are the people who got the power? Where are they trying to stop what's happening? If Freddie Roach and I were just talking about this yesterday, he said, if there was a lifetime ban for the first time you got caught on something, nobody would be doing it. You're not investing your whole childhood. You're not having your family invest half of their lives into you as well, because they're the ones taking you to all the amateur fights and stuff like that.
True
You're
enough,
not going to do all that to just get popped for something and then never have an opportunity again. The problem is that people are only getting slapped on the wrist. Now, the ones that are getting just the slap on the wrist are the money makers, because they need them. It's some sick, twisted cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's like the medical industry out here in the U.S. We could talk about that.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know
biggest scam.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they want us sick so that we can buy the medication. It's just one big, you know, it's just a sick revolving door that will never shut. So I feel like until somebody of power, and that's going to take the top dog promoters, it's going to take, you know, the high-end officials to change it.
Hey, Michelle, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. I actually ran into you in MGM Grand, but you
Yeah, I
were so
saw
busy
you.
and transient, you know. I said I'd catch up
No,
with her.
didn't we speak in front of the?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to touch bases with you, so I had the opportunity to step out here and I happened to catch you lounging around. So I truly appreciate your time. And
No problem.
any final parting words that you have for your fans out there in the media community that follows Beyond the Gloves?
I mean, just thank you so much. You know, I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for them. So just thank you and continue watching.